Now, relational skills primarily have to do with how you get along with other people and what other people think about you. So how you get along with other people and what other people think about you are the primary things that relational skills are about. First, you got to be able to work as a team, be a member of a team. Anybody know anybody? I don't know, I'm a sports guy. I don't know if you all are sports people, but if you're a sports person, you know somebody who's not a good teammate. Can anybody come to mind who you say that person's not a good teammate? Anybody? Go ahead. Yeah. Kobe Bryant. What you was gonna say? LeBron sometime? Hater. Who else? Anybody? Somebody who's not a good teammate. Anybody? Can you think of some other people? Oh, your girlfriend. Okay. Josh Gordon. T.O. I was waiting for T.O. because I taught this class about 200 times at least. And somebody always says T.O. Terrell Owens. Chad Johnson. So, there's some reasons why you think those folks are not good teammates. And part of that is they got some evidence. They aren't good Like Terrell Owens, for example, is probably going to make the Hall of Fame. His statistics warrant that he makes the Hall of Fame. He probably could have played football for 5 more years, at least. But then nobody wanted him on their team because he was not a good teammate. There's a cat here recently in basketball for the Dallas Mavericks. Who knows who that is? Rajon Rondo. He blew their team up. He was not a good team. They had a team that had a chance to contend. But when he showed up, they just blew up their whole team. He was not a good teammate. So you know what it means to not be a good teammate. Well, here's the kind of stuff that makes you a good teammate. You got to be able to listen so that you can hear and understand. See, a lot of times, particularly men, we got one woman in the class. Is that the only one we got? One woman? That's it? Okay. So women can attest, 2 women in the class. You can attest to this. Men don't hear. Am I right?
Correct.
See, one of the things that men do is men tend to want to make their argument while they're listening to somebody else's argument. Men tend to go, like, I'm trying to figure out what I want to say before the other person even says what they're trying to say.
They don't even listen to what you say.
So you're not even trying to understand. That tends to be a man thing. Not all men. You say you want to beg to differ. I ain't mad at you. But that's the way men tend to be. Women aren't always like that. But women always say that about men. You're not even hearing what I got to say. You don't understand. So I've been married 21 years. And I tell you what, I wouldn't be married 21 years if I didn't learn how to hear so that I can understand what my wife is saying. Sometimes I got to hear when she ain't even saying nothing. So you got to hear so you can understand. Listen to hear stuff. You don't listen to make your argument, to make your point. You listen so you can make sure you hear what folks are saying so you can understand it. The next thing to do is you got to be willing to learn from other people. Being a good teammate is about being willing to learn from other people. You got to be willing to help other people. That's part of being a good teammate. You got to work with other people to solve problems. Problem solving. In fact, definition of needing to have a problem solved is that you can't do it by yourself. In order to do that, you got to work with somebody else. So being able to work with other people to solve problems, that's teammate. You got to be able to compromise. Got to be able to compromise. And then the last thing I want to talk about is being able to work with cultural diversity. Cultural diversity. When I talk about cultural diversity, I don't just mean race. Culture is a whole lot of things. Culture, like how many people's families come from the South? Anybody's family coming here from the South? Southern culture versus Northern culture. Who comes from a big family, more than 3 brothers and sisters? A few of y'all. Anybody here an only child? A couple of only child. So big family, only child. That's a family culture. That's different cultures. Anybody here not born in America? There's a couple people not born in America. That's an obvious cultural difference. That's the one that a lot of times that comes to mind. So cultural, you got to be able to work with cultural diversity. 80 years ago in this country, if you went to school somewhere or worked somewhere, chances are you went to school or worked with somebody who was just like you. If somebody who was different came in and told a joke, or you told a joke about them, or you teased them in some way, shape, or form, you probably wouldn't lose your job. In fact, you probably would have gotten kudos from your friends for teasing them. Now you fast forward to today. Why couldn't you get away with that today? Even though it might happen, but why can't you get away with that today? Laws have changed. Yeah, and the workplace is a lot more diverse today than it was back then. You can get fired from your job today for teasing people, harassing people is what they call it.
You can get sued too.
And the company could actually get sued. So companies don't want that. So everybody's got to learn how to work with diversity. I know it's a challenge, and there's sometimes people can't do it, and I know there's stuff that still goes on, but the reality is that could cost the person their job and the company a lawsuit. So you can't do that. So being able to work with cultural diversity is a necessity. And one of the ways that you can assure that you could do that is to realize that no matter who we are and how different we might be, we all have something in common. And you start with what you got in common with people. So I'll prove it to you this way. How many people went to elementary school in this room? See, most people went to elementary school somewhere. Anybody eat food? That's one of the things that you can always learn about somebody else who's from different than you are. Start with food, what kind of foods they like, particularly people who are from other countries. They have some different kinds of food. You might want to learn about it, but that's the way you start to get to know people. And if you get to know people, you are less likely to tease them, harass them, be negative, or treat them negatively.